What if I told you the world may be just one step away from a massive Middle East war? The United States has reportedly given Iran an ultimatum: stop uranium enrichment, surrender nuclear stockpiles, or face growing military pressure in the Strait of Hormuz. Oil tankers are burning, American warships are deploying, Iran is threatening attacks on U.S. bases, and now, humanitarian flotillas are moving toward Gaza as regional tensions explode. Tonight, we break down everything happening behind the scenes, and why this crisis could impact the entire world. According to U.S. media reports, Washington sent Iran a 14-point document earlier this week. Under its proposals, Iran would be required to agree not to develop a nuclear weapon and halt all enrichment of uranium for at least 12 years. It would also be required to hand over an estimated 440 kilograms 970 pounds stock of uranium, which it has enriched to 60%. In return, the U.S. would gradually lift sanctions and release billions of dollars in frozen Iranian assets and withdraw its naval blockade of Iranian ports. Both sides, which are currently engaged in a naval standoff in the Strait of Hormuz, would reopen the critical waterway within 30 days of signing. More than 30 ships in the Global Sumud Flotilla have gathered off the coast of Turkey near the town of Marmaris to prepare to complete their maritime journey to Gaza. Video clips posted online show the ships and boats in the open sea on Saturday evening as Turkish officials and activists arrived to welcome the flotilla. The Turkish Coast Guard and local GSF fleet sailed out to greet us near where the flotilla will anchor off the coast. Alex Colston, an activist, wrote on X. Activists said the ships arrived in Turkey after a 24-day journey with stops on the Italian island of Sicily and the Greek island of Crete, where Israeli forces intercepted 22 of the boats and abducted 2 leading activists. The pair have now been deported from Israel. While in Marmaris, boats in the flotilla will complete technical maintenance, security checks, and logistics replenishment processes, the Global Sumud Flotilla said in a statement on X. It added that details of next phases of the humanitarian aid mission to Gaza will be announced publicly in the coming days, as we've been reporting. The IRGC has said that any attack on Iranian oil tankers and commercial ships will be met with assaults on American bases in the region and enemy ships. This comes amid relative calm in the Strait of Hormuz after days of clashes. Here's a look at recent events. On May 5, Trump pauses Project Freedom, a U.S. Navy mission to escort stranded ships out of the strait after missile and drone attacks on the United Arab Emirates, as well as merchant vessels. But he said the U.S.'s blockade on Iranian ports will remain. On May 7, Iran's military said the U.S. targeted 2 ships entering the Strait of Hormuz and carried out attacks on civilian areas on Qeshm Island in the Strait of Hormuz and the nearby coastal areas of Bandar Qamir and Sirik on the mainland. The military said it responded by attacking U.S. military vessels east of the strait and south of the port of Chabahar. The U.S. military claimed it fired in response to Iranian missiles and drone attacks that targeted 3 Navy destroyers. The military said it targeted missile and drone sites. On May 8, the U.S. military said it struck 2 empty Iranian-flagged oil tankers that were seeking to break its blockade. Iranian media reported that at least 1 sailor was killed, and 10 others were injured aboard a vessel that caught fire during the strikes. Iranian forces also seized an oil tanker in the Gulf of Oman east of the strait over an alleged attempt to disrupt Iran's oil exports. The UAE also said its air defenses engaged with 2 ballistic missiles and 3 drones from Iran, with 3 people sustaining moderate injuries. The United States cannot continue the war without producing disastrous consequences. A renewed escalation would likely lead to the destruction of the region's oil, gas, and desalination infrastructure, causing a prolonged global catastrophe. Iran can credibly impose costs that the United States cannot bear and that the world should not suffer. The U.S.-Israel war plan was a decapitation strike sold to President Donald Trump by Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu and David Barnea, the director of the Mossad. The premise was that an aggressive joint U.S.-Israeli bombing campaign would so degrade the Iranian regime's command structure, nuclear program, and IRGC senior leadership that the regime would fracture. The United States and Israel would then impose a pliable government in Tehran. Read more here. The views expressed in this article are the author's own and do not necessarily reflect Al Jazeera's editorial stance.